On Wednesday, England face India in the fourth Test match at Old Trafford, with the men's Test series an absolutely compelling watch, listen and follow along, with England leading by 2-1 after that absolute nail-biter at Lord's. The England captain Ben Stokes has been speaking to the BBC's chief cricket commentator Jonathan Agnew about the upcoming match, how he's viewed the series and the inclusion of Liam Dawson.
Well, how have you shaped up? You had a hard old game there at Lord's, mentally and physically. How did you get over that?
I know I said at the end of the game that I'll be lying in my bed for 4 days, and I was very true to that when I got home.
4 days?
Yep. Honestly, I felt like I'd hardly seen my family when I got home, just because just needed to lie down.
Yeah. A few box sets, reruns of Friends?
No, actually, I watched the whole series of Landman on Amazon. That's good. I watched 28 Days Later, and then followed that up with 28 Weeks Later.
Okay, so a couple of recommendations.
Yeah. It's that was an exhausting week. Obviously physically as well, but yeah, mentally, and it doesn't really hit you till 2 days after. It does take out of you 5-day Test matches.
Yeah, but a lot of people were engaged in that, Ben, weren't they? I mean, I've had a lot of people listening, watching, who really enjoyed that game. Yeah,
and I can totally see why. Like, I get the privilege of playing in Test matches and being involved in a lot of very, very good ones, and that was another one. So, when games go down to the wire like that, especially Test matches, not too often it's 22-run victories, but I can understand why there was so much engagement and why people couldn't take their eyes off that last day.
And another win here, and that's it. That's a Series 1, which is a great motivator for this match.
Yeah, well, don't ever need too much motivation when you're walking out there, but we understand what this week could possibly mean for us at the end of it. That we can be series winners with one game to go, which would be great. But again, out of the 3 games we've played so far, I think when we've got to the end of them, we have been able to just park either happiness or disappointment, like the second game, and start again, because there's been hardly anything between the two teams so far in 15 days of cricket. So we just restart, reset, and hit the ground running again. Yeah.
Let's talk about Liam Dawson briefly, because you've had obviously Shoaib Bashir under your wing, very young, inexperienced, learning. Liam Dawson's 35, been around the block a long time. Will you handle him in a different way? Is that going to be an interesting experience for you?
We spoke briefly yesterday at the Nets about that, and I just said to Dawson, look, it's going to be a lot different to someone like Bash, who's we were both learning on the job together, if that makes. Bash was learning more about cricket, and I was learning about giving a young fella lots of confidence out in the field. And one thing that Bash progression is, he's got a lot more confidence within him taking control of his fields and what he wants and stuff like that, which is great. But now you've got someone like Dawson, who's the complete other end of the spectrum, who knows his game a lot more. He's got a lot of experience. He knows the certain fields that he wants that allows him to get into the game. So I just said, look, you do you. We'll speak, and we'll just see how it goes. So it's obviously a bit different to captain in Bash, but I'm looking forward to it, and I'm pretty sure Dawson's pretty excited about this week as well.
Yeah, he will. And it's a good thing with county cricket, isn't it, that actually you can come back. 8 years is quite a long time, isn't it? But there's the incentive again to come back, keep going, and you never know.
Yeah, and I think that's a trait that sort of many people might not associate with Dawson, is how competitive he is. And that's one thing that I've known. I've known Dawson for a very, very long time, and I know that he's very, very competitive. He's great around the team. He'll give everything that he can. But put that alongside the skill that he has as a cricketer, it's good. But yeah, I think it could be inspiration, I guess, for maybe some guys who are on the slightly older side of being a professional cricketer, knowing that at the right time and at the right moment you could get your call up or call back up if you're 20 or 35 like Dawson.
Yeah. There's always been chatter out in the middle in cricket, hasn't there? And hostility, and quite rightly so. Lord's, we saw probably more than we've got used to recently, and it was it's on the telly, it's there, isn't it? What do you think about that? And I'm thinking of that Brendan McCullum's comment about you being a bit too nice. I mean, is that a fair reflection, do you think?
Yeah, it's one of those where, look, it took something like that out in the middle on the day 3 for...
The closing minutes.
Yeah, just, I don't know, it just sort of... when you're up there watching that unfold, and you've only got 2 of your guys out there, I think it just sort of sparked everyone off a little bit. And I think conversations and back and forth that you see out in the middle, I think sometimes get massively over analysed and over criticised almost. It's like no one's gonna would have gone to bed crying themselves to sleep over what was said to each other. I think we're very quick these days to try and stamp down on that kind of stuff. But I think people really enjoyed it. It just shows it's passion, it's desire. Both teams are out there wanting to win. We walk out there 5 days of the week and put everything on the line for, we do it for England and the Indians do it for India. So when emotions do start getting a bit tense and a bit high, I think it just needs to be, maybe just settle down a bit around, is it right, is it wrong? It's never going to go over the line, and if it does go over the line, then it's, I guess, the responsibility of the captain who's out there to just maybe even pull it. But at not one stage did we go over the line. At not one stage I think India went over the line. I think it just added to what was a great game, and but we're not going to certainly go out there and just start it off for nothing, because I don't want us to take our attention away from what the goal of this week is. But it was nice that we've sort of, I don't know, said we're not going to let any team feel like they can intimidate us in any way, and maybe being a little bit too nice is probably a good way to put it. So it was great when a team go out there and do what we did there, but we were able to back it up with our actions as well, which obviously helps.
Yeah. Is it important to show with what's coming up that you're not going to take a backward step? I mean, there is a hostile tour coming up, let's face it.
It's not like we're the only team who does it, as in shies away from any confrontation. It's just making sure that that's not the main goal, is to show, I'm going to come hard and aggressive at you with our words and body language. It's doing it in the right way and keeping your emotions in check with it all. But every team in the world, if there's a little bit of niggle, I'm sure that all their teammates are going to jump in and sort of help them out as well. That's what we did last week.
This last one, Ben, I mean, you said at the start of the season that you're going to slightly reform the way that the team is going to play. Are you pleased with how it's gone so far? I mean, there was a really battling session at Lord's, 3 runs and over. That's not what we've been used to the last couple of years. Are you pleased with the way it's developing? Yeah,
I think in terms of the change the way we play, that I don't want it to sound like we've got a blueprint of how we want to go out and play our cricket, before anything's gone on out there and before we assess the conditions. And I think everyone understands that when we're very clear about that. But what we wanted to do as a team, I think we've shown that in this series so far, is that when the conditions aren't suiting the way that we necessarily want to go out there and play, we've been a lot quicker to adapt, to give ourselves the best chance of being able to then, sort of put that pressure that we're known for back onto the opposition. At times last week it was just sluggish, and it was very hard to score freely like we used to, as a group of batters. And I thought we assessed that very early on in the game. The balls weren't coming through to the keeper. I've never seen the outfield like that at Lord's be as slow as that before. So it was just a real, sluggish way, but we did it. And there wasn't necessarily any conversations that needed to go in the dressing room about, right, we need to do this. I think everyone just realise that and assess that. And there is always going to be times, even when we do have some sluggish, slow wickets, that we are going to be in a position where we will try to explode a bit more to hurry the game up. But we never really felt like we got into that position, but we were able to stay in the game for a long period of time. And even in that third innings, when things were very, very hard with the ball going up, going down, we were able to put a good score on the board. I generally thought that 190 was good, but I knew we'd have to bowl well to give ourselves a chance of winning. But I thought just the way in which we assessed the conditions and kept ourselves in the game with a good first inning score and a pretty decent third inning score as well.
Thoughts there of the England men's captain Ben Stokes ahead of the fourth test match between England and India that starts Wednesday morning at Old Trafford, with England looking to seal a series win after taking a 2-1 lead with that thriller at Lord's. It was a thriller that provided plenty of moments of controversy as well. A lot of talk around the spirit of the game after things did get a little bit spicy, particularly around the delaying tactics of Ben Duckett and Zach Crawley. Well, this is what the India captain Shubman Gill said after some of the confrontations that occurred.
Yes, a lot of people have been talking about it, so let me just clear the air for once and for all. The English batsmen on that day, they had 7 minutes of play left. They were 90 seconds late to come to the crease. Not 10, not 20, 90 seconds late. Yes, most of the teams, they use this. Even if we were in a position, we would have also liked to play lesser overs, but there's a manner to do it. And we felt, yes, if you get hit on your body, the physios are allowed to come on, and that is something that is fair. But to be able to come 90 seconds late on the crease is not something that I would think comes in the spirit of the game. And just leading up to that event, a lot of things that we thought should not have happened, that had happened. And I wouldn't say it was something that I'm very proud of, but there was a lead up and build up to that. It didn't just come out of nowhere, and we had no intention of doing that whatsoever, but you're playing a game, you're playing to win, and there are a lot of emotions involved, and when you see there are things happening that should not happen, sometimes the emotions come out of nowhere.
Well, that was Shubman Gill speaking at the press conference ahead of the fourth test match between England and India's men. Alongside me to preview the game and discuss all of the issues around it, Prakash Wakankar and BBC Sport cricket writer Matt Henry. Prakash, first of all, I don't know about you, but it adds to it, doesn't it? This little bit of needle, this little bit of something to get our teeth stuck into.
Well, my views actually are a little bit different, I think, from the general perception. I think it makes great theatre and great cinema, great television, great talking points, great social media. Does it necessarily make for great cricket, or does it change the level of competition and the sort of fight that both teams show? I don't think so. So I'm a bit old-fashioned. I'd prefer it not to happen, but I guess we live in a world today, Henry, where this is bound to happen, and when it does and stays within those limits, I think it's all right. Otherwise, it can take away from the game. It can take away from the fun and enjoyment for everyone. Mercifully, that hasn't happened so far, and let's hope it doesn't in the balanced 2 tests, without any drop in the intensity of both teams to try and win.
Matt, what did you make of what we heard from the two captains today?
Interesting in their conflicting approaches to it. Ben Stokes has clearly tried to play the whole thing down. He's said both teams stayed on the right side of the line, and Shubman, it seems like, has wanted come into the press conference and wanted to get this off his chest. He's like, let me get this one thing straight, and he's gone in there. That was obviously on his mind, and he wanted to say it. He's talking about the specifics when we get to this spirit of cricket debate, which comes up so often, and it's quite a dull term, really, isn't it? I mean, everyone talks about it. It's a tedious thing. There's no spirit of football, there's no spirit of tennis, there's no spirit of rugby, but for some reason there is in cricket. But Gill is talking about that specific point of England coming out about 90 seconds late, and the timing seems to suggest that is the case from that evening when Crawley and Duckett came out to bat, and that is probably wrong. We would be fair to say you shouldn't really be doing that. You should be out on time. The umpires have got to be stronger to enforce that. The rest of the stuff that followed from that, I think, was ultimately fine, and England fans will point to Shubman Gill's back massage the day before, as ever, accusations that I think Alistair Cook and Michael Vaughan said on commentary, didn't they, that was to allow KL Rahul to be able to come out to bat, which is an impossible thing for us to be able to it's an impossible thing for us to be able to say one way or the other, because we went on the field and we don't know what Shubman Gill's back was feeling like, so that's by the by. But yeah, it's interesting in the way that they were both coming at it from completely different points of view today.
What about the sanctity of the spirit of cricket? Because I know you say it's a sort of intangible thing, Matt, but Prakash, I don't know about you, but in the same way as on a rugby field there has to be politeness towards the officials, and sports are different from one another, and part of what makes cricket is the fact that it is a bit different. I found it unedifying when MS Dhoni marched on the field during an IPL match to remonstrate with an official. I thought that it wasn't what cricket was about, but if it draws in fans, all of this, if it gets people tuning in whom otherwise might not.
No, I don't think the example you gave of MS walking out, unpardonable. Simply not cricket, as we say. And I think, look, people may look at it or think about it and say, oh, those days are long gone by. But in my mind, it was. Maybe it isn't quite as much, but I hope it will largely remain a gentleman's game, taking nothing away from the fact that the women are playing it in such great spirit as well. The fact of the matter, Henry, to me is you play a sport above all, I think, to enjoy it. As long as you do that, it's unlikely that you're going to behave in a manner that is not up to the accepted standards. Yes, you're representing your country, emotions will be high, there will be moments like that. And, whether it is a back massage or whatever, I mean, the use of the word back massage is, in my mind, not appropriate in as much as it wasn't a massage to feel good. It was a problem which was identified, and the physio came out and did that. Similarly, it could be someone getting concussed, someone could get a hit on a finger, and I just feel that the terminologies and the words that we use, because we are privileged to be speaking to an audience that is listening and can't really question us then and there, I think all of us also owe a responsibility to being responsible in the way we use them. And I think it will ultimately be up to the two captains. I think they're both extremely good people who understand what cricket is about. Ben Stokes was definitely very, very generous, very gentlemanly in the way he spoke, what we heard a little while ago. And Shubman is a young captain. It's only his third or fourth test match. It's a baptism by fire in many ways. We didn't hear the rest of the conference, nor did we hear the question that was put to him. When we just take something and say, let me clear this up, yes, I accept that it sounds as if you come out there with that single agenda.
I think that was the case.
Well, I don't know, and maybe you were there, so I'll defer to you, Matt, in terms of that particular view. I just think the cricket has been of such high quality that it does not need anything else to make it exciting for people to follow and love.
I come at this from a slightly different point of view, in that, unashamedly love seeing that sort of needle between the two teams. I find it entertaining. I was never more gripped, kind of trying to work out who was chirping at who on the final day when they came
Generational.
out. Maybe I didn't want to say that, Prakash, but maybe
I
it
did.
is. And the other thing, to come back on something Prakash said earlier about that you don't need it to add to the cricket on the field, that history suggests that England play a lot better when they have been stirred up by something and have a point to prove. Well, not necessarily a point to prove, but a cause to fight for, if you know what I mean. We go back to the 2023 Ashes. England were 2-0 down, were losing until Alex Carey ran out, stumped Johnny Bairstow, and then they turn it around and, drew 2-2, and let's not mention the Manchester weather this week. Who knows what would have happened. They got really riled up there. Ben Stokes kind of revved up a little bit of the Western Terrace at Headingley, as he did, and they got stuck into Australia that day, that first day in particular, when Alex Carey came out to bat there. And England were far, far better for that. And as Aggers put to Ben Stokes in his question, that Brendan McCullum has told England they're a bit too nice, and it seems as though that's going to change a little bit, and now there's a bit more grit and a bit more aggression in them, which history suggests makes them a better team.
Yeah, well, Stokes' quote was, "It's nice that we've said we're not going to let any team feel they can come out and intimidate us in any way. It's not about shying away from confrontation, it's just making sure that it's not the main goal. Keep the right way and keeping your emotions in check with it all." Conversation from one wit on the comment section of the BBC Sport website said, "Gill seems tense. Perhaps he should go for a massage." So there we go.
Maybe he's got one already.
Well, there we go. It all makes for interesting conversation, doesn't it? What about the game itself then? We know that England make the one change. Liam Dawson comes into the side. it is a pretty consistent England lineup. We know what Dawson brings to an England team. What about India, Prakash? What do we think we're going to see?
Yeah, big question really, because as always, lots of things shrouded in secrecy for whatever reasons. But the latest I've heard is that Pant seems to be now fit to keep and bat, which will be a huge relief for everyone. Because the simplest solution, and that may not be the one India go with, would simply to swap Shardul Thakur for Nitish Kumar Reddy, like for like in that sense. And then the question will really be, if Akashdeep is carrying that injury, which seems to be correct, then Gautam Gambhir and Gill have a choice. They either go and play Prasidh or hand a cap to Anshul Kamboj, which could be quite remarkable. I don't know how he'll do. Or go to something that many in the TMS box have been asking for, which is play Kuldeep Yadav.
Yeah.
We don't know.
India, they're now behind in the series and have got to force the result as well, haven't they? They've got to come out and win, and that'll be an interesting thing this week. If there is rain around, which the forecast suggests some, not as much as it looked like there was going to be at the start of the week, that now India are going to have to be the team who's got to go out there and get the win. There was talk at Edgbaston before that game started, and it was all turned out very differently. Obviously, that India were packing their batting to get out of Birmingham with a draw and head to Lords when Bumrah was back and going all up, and they can't do that here because they're 2-1 down with 2 to play, so they've got to go out and attack. Kuldeep would be the aggressive option. With the theory that you said of bringing Shardul in, I worry about the solidity of the batting.
That's
there,
right.
because if you've got Jadeja at 6, you've got, where am I at now? You've got Shardul at 7.
Yeah, but whoever you bring in isn't necessarily going to be a batter as equipped in theory as Nitish Kumar Reddy.
Washington at 7, sorry.
So Washington's going to play. Washington and Jadeja both will play. The question really is, India don't necessarily have someone who can bowl and bat.
Yeah.
And therefore it's going to be a choice between playing someone who could bat. So they bring in Iswaran, or they play...
Jude Durrell could play as a specialist batter.
Yes,
as well,
he could, and that's one of those options. But looking at how Gambhir and Gill have approached things, I think it's been more the sort of rational, steady, maybe even a little bit defensive, and in a lighter vein. There's this funny stat, I haven't analysed it, Matt, about Bumrah playing in India, losing more games when he plays than when he winning more when he's not there. So maybe they just want to get to the Oval believing that if Bumrah is going to play only 3 matches, they're going to win that one. So we might as well play a little safe here. But honestly speaking, I think it's up in the air a bit. If there's weather around, I don't know if Kuldeep's going to make any difference really.
Forecast is much better than it was, by the way. So
well, look at what's happening here at Chesterley Street. I mean, till yesterday, we were all talking about, will we get a game, and if we do, how much? And so far, touch wood, it's been all right.
Indeed. Well, what about Liam Dawson's role? I mentioned we sort of know what we're going to get, Matt. He is a very, very solid, experienced cricketer. He's not played a test match in 8 years, but left arm spin, very capable in the field, capable with the bat as well. I mean, he feels like he just sort of slots in and does a job, really.
Dependable is the word that always gets thrown around about Liam Dawson. It'll be interesting to see how threatening he is with the new ball, in the first innings, the newer pitch, to see how much he really turns the ball back at international level. It's like he's done it in county cricket. Can he now do that step up into international cricket? Because everyone has been crying out for this for so long. County cricket fans have wanted this. So from that point of view, you want him to be successful, and everyone wants a cricketer who comes back in after such a long absence to be successful. He's coming from a much lower trajectory than Shoaib Bashir, which is a massive change from a 6 foot whatever off spinner to a 5 foot whatever left arm spinner. The angles are completely different. They'll be able to throw it into that rough outside the left-handers off someone like Jadeja that they found so hard to get up. Someone like Jaiswal, who, if Jofra Archer doesn't get through him before then, maybe after his good record at Lords. But there's going to be interesting matchups for Dawson and how he copes with the pressure, because we were both here, Henry, weren't we, when Dawson made his T20 return for England here at Chesterley Street against West Indies earlier in the summer, and he was so good in that game, and it just looked like he was completely unfazed. Will it be the same at test level? We don't know, but the suggestion would be yes.
One tiny point. Remember who got 300 when Dawson played his last test?
Yeah.
Karun Nair. Maybe he'll take some heart from it.
Indeed.